Hello, hello, Jeremy Knights with the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Wow, I am excited. Get the comment section rolling here. Okay, again, Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. We have a fantastic live stream today. I've got a very special guest that I've been pushing off the channel like almost weekly. I feel like she's like the Jimmy Kimmel and what's the other guy's name? They had that thing where he'd say, I ran out of time for Matt Damon. So I feel like Katie's been the Matt Damon of the channel. I apologize to Katie for that. She is a fireball out of Houston. So not very many people can put me on their heels when it comes to my sarcasm. Katie has got that in spades. So I'm excited to have her on. We're going to talk about Austin versus Houston. I get a lot of people that reach out and just don't know where to live. So they're considering all different markets. So I love to bring on awesome people that know awesome stuff. So thank you for that. Make sure you start dropping comments in and questions. We will get those answered. Before we jump in and bring Katie in, I want to make a couple announcements. Number one, thank you so much for everyone that subscribed recently. We've seen a huge jump in subscribers. I appreciate you for doing that. I appreciate all the comments. I get a lot of funny comments on my channel now. So if I don't respond, just know I think your comment might be a little funny. So there's that. My next video, which I've been trying to get filmed and edited and all that good stuff. We'll be talking about the Prop A and Prop B that just passed in Austin. Many of you saw my video talking about the massive problems in our Austin market. And a lot of that boiled down to property taxes skyrocketing. So we will break down the pros and cons of what Prop A is, what Prop A is, and how it is going to kind of impact a lot of people and maybe not the way they anticipated. So that being said, please drop in your questions, concerns, and comments. I can't wait to start answering them. I'm going to bring on Katie Day out of Houston. She is a realtor. She is a kickboxing martial artist. If you look at her Instagram page, I think she knocks out somebody pretty much daily. So that's pretty exciting. Katie, I am bringing you on. Oh, let's do that. There you go. Katie, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I think I'm a little nervous. For those of you that don't know, Jeremy's basically been talking trash, and like we've been trying to schedule this for a while, but there's been a lot of trash talk happening.
Yes.
You know, just at all hours of the day, I get random text messages and DMs of Jeremy just talking trash. So, you know, I don't know what I ever did to him, but I'm glad to be here, I guess.
I mean, look, you know, Houston has been the butt of a lot of my jokes and videos in the past. So, I mean, it's kind of, you know, a little side jib to that. But, you know, it came down to personal. I went to Game 5 of the World Series to find out that the Houston Astros cheated my Dodgers out of a World Series. So, I mean, it's part of that too. So, yeah, I'm just kidding. So, Katie, give yourself a better intro than what I gave you. Let's so people know who you are and what you do in the Houston area. Fire it off. Let's hear it.
Yeah, what's going on? Katie Day. I am your favorite Houston realtor. No, I'm kidding. So, real estate agent here in Houston, Texas. I moved here in 2011. Lived in a lot of different areas of town. Work in a lot of different areas of town. So Houston is set up in a lot of different loops. We work basically inside the inner loop of Houston and out about 45 minutes from downtown, radius around the city. So been doing real estate now for about 4 years full time, and enjoying every day.
Awesome. So let's get into this because, you know, we're going to talk about the Houston market, where to live, all those great things. But why on this green earth would anyone choose to move to Houston? Give me your best pitch.
So what I love about Houston is that there is a ton to do. We have all of the major sports teams, like Jeremy's favorite, the Astros, you know, Rockets, Texans, professional soccer. We've got tons of great food. We have great museums and theaters, and there's just honestly like something for everyone here. There's just a lot to do, and it's a great place to live. It's the fourth largest city in America. which is always a fun fact. We should overtake Chicago soon, but yeah, and it's better than Austin. So that's, as far as ranking on your list, better than Austin.
Okay, so I mean, all right, so yeah, you're bigger than Austin. You definitely have, more food options, obviously, because you're a much bigger city. But I mean, look, we don't need fancy sports teams that cheat people out of World Series to like really, enjoy life. We do have UT. We're getting a soccer stadium here soon, so that's pretty exciting. And look, yeah, you don't. Here's the thing about Austin. It's only about 3 hours away from Houston. I wish it was a little bit further, but it's only about 3 hours to Houston. So we get to go to Galveston and go to your beaches. And so like we get the best of both worlds. We don't have to live in Houston and we can get to use your beaches. So, I mean, I feel like you got to give a better pitch than that to why you'd want to move to Houston.
Full disclosure, I did move from Florida to my last place I lived was in Florida. So Galveston beaches aren't something that I frequent often. I think that if that's the highlight of if that's the highlight for you living in Austin is driving to Galveston, I think that kind of wins the argument for me, is all I'm saying.
You like how in the middle of your talking, I brought up the hey and walk and roll. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
How much did you pay walk and roll to pop on here today?
I don't know, but I might have to start paying people for that. But yeah, so I actually went down and helped out. I put together a whole big caravan of people that went down and demucked homes and helped during Harvey. So flooding is an issue. So that's actually a good, segue question. Why not live in Houston? No, I'm just kidding. But how often does Houston actually see a lot of those major, weather events like that?
Yeah, I mean, so Houston, being partially below sea level, we do see flooding, with lots of rain, with hurricanes, things like that. So, again, I've been here since 2011. In 15, 16, 17, there was, a couple major events. I think the biggest thing that I always recommend to clients as far as when they're moving to Houston is to get flood insurance, whether or not the property is flooded or whether or not it's in a flood map. What we've seen, especially with a lot of development in areas, and I mean, you guys see it in Austin too, is, what used to be vacant land is now turning into houses and developments and infrastructure. So, water where it once would go fill up a big, empty lot is now a huge subdivision with homes. So I think as we've had a lot of recent things, happen in the recent past, our city has done a good job as far as building codes and ensuring that you're building above, the flood lines and the floodplains and things like that. They've done a lot as far as flood mitigation. So we have bayous, which are basically huge ditches that run through our city, for lack of a better description. They've dredged those out deeper, and things like that. They're putting pretty strict codes on the builders as far as like ensuring that there's proper drainage. They're requiring more drainage for developments and for new construction homes. So before, where there may have been able to be like a shared drain, now there have to be individual ones and things like that. So it's definitely carry flood insurance, do your research on neighborhoods, yeah.
Okay. So that actually is a good segue. I mean, all right. So Houston has sports teams, has good food. It's hot as heck. It's super humid and it could flood. So if somebody were to overlook some of those things and want to move to Houston, I think what are some of the real positive reasons why somebody, other than the food stuff, what are some of the positive reasons that somebody would actually want to move? I say that. I always say it comes out so bad every time I say it.
I'm like, okay. I'm regretting coming on here. I'm like trying to like rep Houston. You're like, why would someone ever want to move to this city? Like,
I have family in Houston, so they get it from me all the time. So what are the pros? I mean, you've done on your YouTube channel pros and cons. So let's hear all the pros of why Houston would be a good fit for most people looking to leave like a high taxed state. I won't name one, California, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting a lot of people from California reaching out. So what are the pros to move to Houston over maybe Austin? Look, the cost of living, I'll give you that one, is much higher in Austin, but what is some of the pros for you?
Yeah. Outside of cost of living being less than Austin and the traffic being less than Austin and the food being better than Austin. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of clients moving from, other states to the west of us, like California, working with a lot of clients right now moving from California. But, I think that there's a lot of good things about Texas in general. I always give Jeremy, crap about basically Austin, but I mean, I think that it's a great place to start a business, whether that is Austin or Houston. I think Texas is a great place to start a business, as far as corporate taxes, as far as resources available to start a business, as far as like local, business administration, things like that. As far as Houston, we've got a lot of industries. Most people think of energy and oil and gas when they think of Houston, which is a big portion of our economy. But we also have the largest medical center in the world. So if you are in the medical industry or field, or you need doctors, we do have the largest medical center. And I mean, I think that there's what's cool about Houston, and I'm kind of like jumping ahead and things that we're going to talk about, but like as far as the neighborhoods, like, so we have the inner loop, which is inside the 610 highway, which, is around the Houston area, which is kind of what's considered in town. But there's lots of different pockets and neighborhoods there. And then as you go further out to the suburbs, those are like their own towns, so you're going to have all of your amenities and everything there. And they're really all growing a ton, and there's a ton of culture and stuff to do, parks and museums and things all popping up in, the suburbs. Like Sugarland in Southwest Houston now has, I don't know who has the naming rights for it, but basically a huge concert center where, big name, big comedians and things like that, at whatever point we go do those things again, all go there, so these suburbs now are starting to see, way more entertainment and activity, when before, like if you moved to the burbs, you were like moving there to die. Right now, like there's actually a lot of cool stuff to do there. They have their own town centers. And I'm kind of rambling now, so that's all.
Well, I gotta say this. So one thing in Texas, depending on the city you're in, maybe not San Antonio because it's not as big, but I know in Austin we have, we just passed Prop A. I was talking about that at the beginning, which is the intent of it is to open up and bring more connectivity. Really, it's going to help downtown Austin more than it is going to help these suburbs around Austin. But we have a really massive traffic problem in Austin. I've driven through Houston a few times, and I feel like you have 20,000 lane freeways. So is there a connectivity issue, or is there a bad traffic issue like there is maybe in Austin, comparing the two?
I don't think there is a comparison in traffic, because you guys have I-35 and like that's it. And then we have like lots of major highways. But I think different pockets of town have some, will have higher traffic than others, and obviously during rush hour and at lunchtime and things like that. So there's like highways and intersections I would avoid at 6 p.m. I think that the city and, different organizations have done a good job to put in different park and rides and different things in those areas, or adjust traffic flow, and put in, different bypasses like that if you're not getting off at that exit or whatever it may be. So I mean, like any major city, we have traffic, I'm not going to say we don't. I definitely don't think it's as bad as I-35. Any of our highways, I don't think they're as bad as I-35. I feel like I-35 has traffic at any hour of the day. It doesn't matter when you go.
So I get made fun of on my own YouTube channel because I use the term 35. And so they're like, oh, that's so Californian of you to say the 35 instead of I-35. So I applaud you for your proper pronunciation of I-35.
Point for Katie. Point for Katie. It may be Austin related. Point for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'm really, if people could tell how I feel about Prop A passing, I think there's a lot of issues um, with our overall connectivity. And like you said, the traffic on I-35 is terrible. And really traffic on Mopac is terrible. And, you know, the only positive really for COVID, oh man, I just demonetized my own channel by saying that. I gotta bleep that out when I go to re-put this on. The only positive from the pandemic is that the work, uh, the traffic has been really not that bad. And so when people come out and they visit to see Austin now, like, oh, is this how the traffic always is? I'm like, no way. Are you seeing the same thing? Is traffic not as big of an issue right now?
So I would say, and I know it's been a little bit different because, like, as far as like the city's reopening and everything, I would say when the stay-at-home order first got put into place for us at the end of March, once real estate was deemed essential in April and we got to go back out on the roads, it was glorious. I was driving out to Katy, which is a 30 to 45, could be longer minute drive. And, you know, my client was like, could we see this home this afternoon? And they're calling me at 3 to look at 5. I'm like, yeah, sure. When normally I'd be like, okay, you know, beautiful mind doing math to figure out traffic. To be like, I can be there at 8:30 p.m., you know. I'm not going to go sit in an hour of traffic, but I would like fly out there basically, you know. So I think as things have started to reopen more, just kind of throughout Texas in general, we've seen more traffic. I wouldn't say I would say it's still better than usual because most people I know are working from home or things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely improved some.
So Ross just asked here the best communities in Round Rock and Georgetown. So those are obviously Austin areas, and I'm going to answer your question here in a second, Ross. But that actually brings up a good question. So with the pandemic, a lot of people are no longer working from their office downtown, especially in Austin. I'm sure you're seeing the same thing in Houston. So as far as affordability, if people are looking to move further out to a neighborhood in like Round Rock or Georgetown, what would you say? Number one would be like the price point that somebody would be looking for, and what would be a good outside suburb for somebody to look into as far as schools and things like that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how it is in Austin as far as school districts, but like in Houston, all of the major kind of areas of the city have their own ISD or independent school district, right? So like we have Houston ISD, which encompasses like in town. There's Spring, Klein, Conroe, which are all up north. Katy and Cy-Fair, which are like northwest and west. Tomball, which is northwest. Fort Bend. So there's lots of different ISDs, but then in those they have good schools. So it's difficult, you know, to say like, hey, if you move to this town or this, you know, suburb, that like the schools here are good because some are better than others. So one good resource is har.com, and they actually rank all the schools, and you can go to the school and then look at all of the homes for sale for that school. So that's kind of cool. You can see which ones have excellent and all that. But you know, Cy-Fair ISD is really good. Katy ISD has a lot of good schools. Conroe ISD has a lot of good schools. Fort Bend has a lot of good schools. As far as price point, moving to the suburbs, you're obviously going to get more home for your money. You know, anything right now kind of in the suburbs under 300 is moving pretty quickly, you know. So if you're looking to move, you're going to need to be like fast to make a decision.
Under 300, we don't know what that is in Austin.
So hey, cost of living, move to Houston. You know, once you get kind of in, you know, the 3 to 4 to 5, as you keep going up in probably I would say 50 to 75K increments, there's a little bit more inventory and a little bit fewer buyers. Ian, 300.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, even so though, like I have a client now that's under contract on a 400 and change home, 450 home, in a suburb here in Houston, and there were 3 or 4 offers on it. So we were, you know, doing everything we could to win that multiple offer situation. So not to say we're not seeing that in price points, you know, in 3, 4, 5, 6 and higher. You know, I mean, we have clients looking in the 5s and 6s that are in multiple offers. So, you know, I think the 3 and less, it's, you've got to be ready to go. And it's crazy. The 3 to 5, it's still really busy. And then over is when you get maybe a little bit of breathing room as a buyer.
Okay. So I'm going to answer this question real quick. I appreciate the question. So Ross, to answer this question is really, it's going to come down to your price point, because there's all different price points in both Round Rock and Georgetown. Georgetown, the name of the, Ian just wrote, just lost an 88 offer at a builder yesterday at 33.
I want to know more about that. That's unreal.
88 offers. I'll explain what he's talking about there. So to answer this question, so one neighborhood that I really like is called Vizcaya. It's Taylor Morrison's building in there right now. They have like a 450 price point. But here's what Taylor Morrison is doing. And this is something I haven't talked about in my videos. I lightly danced around it. But Taylor Morrison, no ill will towards Taylor Morrison, but instead of doing a lottery for their lots, they said, hey, go ahead and bid on these lots. We're going to release 6 at a time, because we have no inventory in new builds. So they said, let's do 6 at a time. And then, but in order for somebody to get one of those 6, you actually have to bid on it. It's not like you're on a list of 125 people. I have a client on a list of 125 people. And so if a lot comes up, do you want the lot? Yes or no? You're kicked off the list. Right? So that's how they do it. They're asking you to bid on a lot. So they'll release 6. They have 88 people, like Ian just said here. And I'm answering Ross's question at the same time. So we had somebody that went in an offer. They had 200 offers, and they offered 200K over the lots that sold. 200K over.
Just for dirt?
Just for dirt, not even the house. Just for dirt. They're doing that in their oh shoot, Ian's gonna put it up here and tell me in a second. It's on the east, on the west side. Santa Rita Ranch. They did it at Santa Rita Ranch as well. Yeah, that's tough. Ross, I would say, I was trying to pull up on my map here, but it's not letting me do it. I was going to tell you that look in the Brushy Creek area. It's still Round Rock ISD, Brushy Creek. There's a lot of different, like Mayfield Ranch, really great area to buy a property. I've had a lot of clients move into that area recently. Very good area. So that kind of middle between Mopac and I-35. So you're west of 35. Okay. Katie Day said, Houston. Oh, Katie, get out of here. Yeah, I'm interested, Ian. I want to hear more about this. So yeah, let's compare markets a little bit, right? So in the Austin market, and I've been doing a lot of videos on this. If we had 30% more inventory in Austin right now, I could probably write easily 20 contracts a month. Like literally, we have that many clients looking for homes, but there's nothing. So what we're seeing, and what Ian just posted about 88 offers. I mean, we had a client fly in yesterday, write a contract on 15 offers. Again, like it seems like 15 offers is a crazy number. I have a listing coming up for 500K in South Austin. For 500K in South Austin. I haven't even released any info on it, and I already have people wanting to write offers on it in South Austin.
Yeah.
500K, which is not a cheap price point. I already have people like dying right now for. So
in Austin though, isn't it 500K? Like
I feel like people start getting sticker shock in Austin. They're coming from super high tax areas, so they think, okay, I've done cost of living videos, so they come in and they say, okay, I want to be in Austin at 300K. You're going to be 45, 50 minutes from Austin at 300K.
Yeah.
And then people have argued with me on my own channel about that, but that's the reality. There are some small pockets, but again, you're buying a new build and there's no new build inventory right now. And so that's something we're into. So compare that market where 10 to 15 offers on a lot of different homes. Is that what you're seeing in the Houston market? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, we're totally seeing that. And you bringing up Taylor Morrison too. I actually went out to a Taylor Morrison community here, and they're doing it a little bit differently. They're limiting the amount of lots that they're releasing. Yeah. And they may sell one home this month. So like we were talking to them about like the lots that are available, and my clients had very specific requests, right? Of like, they wanted something that built back up to a green belt, or, not a cul-de-sac lot. So it wasn't, how in subdivisions that you'll have like 5 backyards that all butt up to each other. So they wanted a little bit more privacy. They wanted this, they wanted that. And like the sales rep was like, well, we're done selling for this month, but you can try next month and come back. And like, if we release this lot, maybe you could buy it then.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, well, but like, can we put our name on a list, or how will we know? And they're like, well, you can call us on the 1st and see. And if we'll release one, maybe more, and you can try. So it's just crazy. I think they're running into it nationwide, right? With lumber cost, and the cost to build is going up. So, we're definitely seeing that in new construction.
Yeah.
That's kind of the one point. And then as far as resale goes, and it's just as far as homes go, yeah, I mean, I like in all price points, we're seeing, multiple offers on many homes. Like I wouldn't say every home has multiple offers. Sometimes, we've been able to get in and get something under contract before there's multiple offers and the seller's decisive and it's just like, no, this is a good number for us. We don't want to try to milk out another 5 or 10K. What we're seeing and what we advise our clients, especially, most clients, is like, if, an appraisal is going to come in at $350,000, you paying $375 or $400 or something higher doesn't make sense if you're not going to be in this home for a very long time.
That's I just did a video on this, right? In fact, I got to figure out which screen I have add to stream. Oh, that's not me. All right. Well, we'll take that one off. Oh yeah, here's my massive problems one. So I did this massive problems video. You did a video very similar. And I would say a lot of what came out of that is, all right. A lot of what came out of that was that with all these huge price increases that we're seeing, people, like you said, putting massive dollars over list price. What we're seeing in Austin, our property tax rate in most of Austin is about 2.14. I'll ask you where your average property tax is, but our values of those homes are increasing with the amount that homes are increasing in price. So homeowners that are staying put and not moving, they're going to get hit with a massive tax bill this year. And they're going to be like, why did my taxes go up so much? And on top of that, they're also now have Prop A that's going to be, it was sold as a very cheap thing. Prop A is not cheap. And so they're going to get hit with kind of 2 tax bills at once, which is going to be in addition. So in Austin, we're going to get, I think a lot of people are going to have major shock in June. So my question to you is, do you see that you're going to have issues in Houston with affordability like we're seeing in Austin? One, and I want to know what your average tax rate is.
So average tax rate is probably the easier question to answer. It ranges anywhere between 2 to 4%. Just depending on the area and the neighborhood. So I'm sure you guys have these in Austin. It just maybe called something different, but we have a MUD tax, MUD.
Yes, ma'am.
Municipal utility district. So like in the newer neighborhoods that have, tons of new infrastructure and, all that, those taxes are going to be higher than a more established neighborhood, say homes built in the 70s and 80s. So yeah, taxes just in the simplest form will be anywhere between 2 to 4%. Inside the city of Houston, it's normally between 2.7 and 2.9-ish. And then,
2.7 and 2.9. Wow. Okay.
It'll be, anywhere between like some of them again, like 1.8 to like 1.8% to 2%, anywhere up to 4% in some of those brand new neighborhoods with, all of the, infrastructure and all that. But I mean, those are the ones that have, OMG, you did hear that correctly. But those are the ones that have, the master plan communities with all of the amenities and, brand new, and all of your streets have sidewalks and, all of that. So,
So that's Ian's OMG. I mean, we complain about neighborhoods in Austin. Granted, I think the question I'm trying to get at with you is where the average price is. So if you're looking at in Austin, 2.14%, $300,000 home, you're looking at about $7,200. I think my math was right on taxes yearly. So if somebody's buying is 4%, are they paying $300 for a home? And is it valuing at $400? Like, are their taxes really 4% of $300,000?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up so I can give some actual, just like, in some numbers that we've ran with clients and things like that. So
it's $12,000 a year. So,
So
I mean,
I think
that's the problem in Austin, and that I struggle with, my wife says I have to stop complaining about taxes so much on my channel, because the one thing that I don't want clients to do, and I know you're probably one of the most ethical agents I know. So one thing I don't want to do is put somebody in one of those new 4% homes. Their tax value is at 400,000, and now they're paying $18,000 a year in taxes. If I did my math right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like kind of looking at some of these, I just ran a search for West Houston, Katy area for anything with a tax rate 3% or higher. And the prices range anywhere between 218 to 1.4 million. And that's, I mean, I think
Jeez.
that's the thing though about Houston, and I'm sure you guys see it in Austin with some of these master plan communities, is you have properties that are anywhere between 200 to 500 or higher, So I think they're trying to do a very good job of developing the neighborhoods with lots of different lot sizes and lots of different builders, so that it's not just all kind of cookie cutter homes. So I mean, I'm trying to, let's see, tax rate. So of those tax rates, 3% and higher, they range anywhere between 3% up to 3.7. And 3.7 is in Cane Island, which is a massive community in Katy, out west of Houston. With all of the, I see builder name there, Highland Homes, all of the Highland Homes and all of those big production builders here in the Texas area. But I mean, like, just I think comparing apples to oranges as far as like prices, I would say Houston's prices are going to be lower than Austin's as a whole. I would say as a whole, but like
Yeah.
generally speaking. So like even with higher taxes, I think that our cost of living is going to be lower. One other thing too, like we're both in Texas. Like Texas is a non-disclosure state, so we don't have to tell the tax authorities what we paid for our homes. So always keep that in mind as you're moving to new homes. And any consumers out there that are listening, like as you move into your new place and they're like, oh hey, we're valuing this at 300 and you paid 400. You don't want to be like, no, but I paid 400. You say, oh, okay, cool, I'll pay taxes at 300.
Right. Well, I think that's so. Texas, or Travis County, so TCAD, appraisal district. They and I've seen it in all the appraisal districts, Williamson and Hayes. They do this thing, and it's curious to me. So if you have a new build home and you buy a new build home off market, right? So some new build, as you know, will show up as MLS homes. Some will show up as you built. So it's actually an off market sale. What they'll do is they'll say, based on these homes, we think your house is worth this. And you're like, holy moly, that's like 50 grand more than I paid. So then you run with your closing disclosure showing that you paid 340 when they say it's worth 400. And you're like, look, I paid 340. And they're like, thank you so much for giving us your tax information on what you paid for your house. Do you see clients that get into that situation where the appraisal district's like, hey, your house is worth this? And you're like, whoa. And so then you end up giving them exactly what you paid for your place?
So I think it depends, right? Like, and I know that's the answer to almost everything, which is always so annoying, but we've had clients where they've paid significantly less, so it made sense for them to provide that. We've had clients that the tax value has been appraised lower, so it makes sense not to say anything. And then we've had other clients where maybe they paid somewhere in the middle, but there's other comparable homes that are very similar that are less, that we can say, well, no, it's worth, say if the value is 300, it's worth 280 and this is why, and we can prove it with other data, not that what I paid for my home. So I think that's something that we always try to help our clients with if there's some sort of discrepancy or there is data out there that can prove their case for a lower appraisal value.
Okay, so give me an idea. If somebody's going to go to a suburb, right? If somebody's going to go to a suburb of Houston and they don't want to be close to Houston, give the fans kind of your top communities, suburbs to live in, and kind of what would be some of the reasons you would want to move to some of those suburbs.
Yeah. So as far as some of the suburbs, I'll start kind of going out west and southwest area. So you've got Katy, Texas. In Katy, there's a lot of different master plan communities that have, in that community, they've got all of their, grocery stores and amenities and things like that. So you don't have to drive far. Some of them have golf courses or, pools or community centers, things like that. So out in Katy, you've got like Cinco Ranch, which is going to be a little bit more established. It's been there for a while. Newer ones, you've got like Cane Island, which is pretty cool. They've got like their own restaurant out there and stuff. So like you literally don't even have to leave your community. Going down south, you've got the Riverstone area in Sugarland, which has, good schools and tons of amenities in the little pockets of each kind of section of the area. Down by Sugarland, you also have. Sorry, I was trying to see.
So I'm trying to get you on with. Oh no! Oh, let's try it again. All right, there you go. So as you were speaking, I apologize. I cut you off. I didn't mean to throw that in there. I brought on the Houston cost of living. So for friends out there, bestplaces.net is where I steal a lot of my data from. I mean, find data from. This is a little outdated, I think, some of it. But so if you're comparing some of those cost of living places out there, cost of living wise, Houston's at a 96% of the US average. So it's not as cheap as people would think. What this median, I mean, you're talking about suburbs. What do you think the median is? Is it really 185 or is it more?
Obviously this skews because we always realtors always look at this on like what's recently sold. So this year our median home cost is a lot higher than it was last year for all of the reasons Jeremy and I are saying. So, I would say generally speaking, the median home cost is closer to around, 250. I think this year it's been tracking closer to the 300 mark. But again, it's because people aren't buying the less expensive homes because they aren't out there, so that does obviously skew the numbers higher. Yeah, so I think that's low, but I mean, pull up Austin. I'm sure it says 250 or something.
Oh no, ours is ridiculous. I don't even want to bring up Austin's right now.
I think we should just because to give the people what they want. But
I mean, if you're gonna pick between, so ours says 369. This, and I can tell you for a fact this is not right because well, if you're doing the MSA, so you're bringing in Houston, not Houston, but Round Rock, the MSA I think is at 353 right now. Okay. If you're doing Round Rock in Austin, but if you look at Austin itself, it's 430. And that's why, I posed a question on my Facebook page about the Prop A. Did people actually do the math to figure out how much you're increasing property taxes on yourself? And nobody would give me a straight answer. They told me that we needed more mobility. And I'm like, yeah, but do you have the money to pay for these taxes? So I would say ours is closer to 430. And then if you look at our cost of living index compared to your cost of living index, and I put
5 or 6% higher to live there.
Yeah, we're 119%
and we're
of the US average. It's not even funny.
That's because there's so much tech moving there. That's because which makes Austin a great place to live, but also makes it a great expensive place to live, right? I mean, housing's at 159% of, is that what that is? Percent?
Yeah. 119 housing is, and they're going off of the U.S. average of 231,000. I'm sure this number is going to change next year once they have more data. In fact, National Association of Realtors just said we had a 14 or 15% increase in prices nationwide. Yeah. So the biggest increase ever. And so, that's also hurting affordability, So we were talking, and I cut you off about those neighborhoods that were good neighborhoods outside of Houston. But, if somebody's looking for a first-time homeowner, is that where they're guided to because of cost, or where are they really looking at?
So those neighborhoods are going to have more expensive homes. I think, first-time home buyers, obviously a relative term. We have some first-time home buyers that are, looking to purchase 250, or less homes. And then we have some first-time home buyers that are looking to purchase, their first home at 400K. So I think it definitely depends, on a relative scale of what your price range is. The neighborhoods I named are probably going to be a little higher than that, kind of 300K or less, just because you do have all of the amenities. But in Sugar Land, in Katy, in the Woodlands, in all of these suburbs, they've been building homes there for a while, right? So there are older communities, there are more affordable homes, so you can get a home for 200K or 250, but it's not going to be, in the master plan community with all of the amenities. It may be adjacent. But yeah, I mean, so they exist, just maybe not in the brand new. Most of the new construction at that price point would be further out, so past, to Hockley or outside of Katy.
What about like Pearland or Friendswood?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really touch on South. The schools down there are great. Pearland is kind of known for Shadow Creek Ranch, which is the master plan community down there.
I only know that because my family lived there. There's Houston fans.
Yeah. They seem like great people from what you said. But yeah, they seem really nice. But so you can find homes there as well, because since Pearland has been being built in for a very long time, you can find things outside of Shadow Creek Ranch in the 200s. Shadow Creek Ranch, generally speaking, I would say you're normally going to be in the 3 to 4 and higher range. But I've had clients looking in the 250 or less. I mean, and this granted was 2 years ago, they ended up moving somewhere else, but they were looking down in Shadow Creek Ranch for 250 or less, and there were homes, but you're just going to face a lot of competition. So you need to, be pre-approved. You need to be ready to make offers, and strong offers at that.
Yeah, I think that's that's the biggest struggle for us right now in Austin when we're working with clients is kind of, I say over and over, it's really important to use a local lender. You don't have to use mine, but it's really important to use a local lender. Mm-hmm. I literally had a client fly in yesterday. We wrote an offer with an out-of-state lender and it wasn't even considered. Yeah. Do you see the same thing in Houston? Is it really that important to use a local lender? I mean, I'm just asking because I'm not trying to lead people to actually, do that. I'm just asking, from your perspective and what you've seen with clients that you're trying to help.
I think it depends on the listing agent. Just full truth. I think it depends on the listing agent. If you have a listing agent or a team that does a lot of volume and does a lot of transactions and deals with this a lot, they're going to want to see a local lender. In Texas, because of taxes and HOA fees and MUDs and it's Texas. We have weird things. Having
big bugs.
Having a
we got big bugs.
Is helpful so that if you get bit by a mosquito, you get a good interest rate. But I think that it's really important. We've had issues this year with some of our buyers that didn't want to, and then they used a online lender that does Quicken or Rocket Mortgage, and they ran into issues with appraisals because our local lenders have local contacts. Right. They have local appraisal companies that they work with that know the market. And if, Quicken Loans or whoever, and I shouldn't keep saying their name, but if someone, decides to do a desktop appraisal and doesn't ever go to the property, there's lots of nuances in Houston when you go over a street or when you go down the road or around the corner that they just don't know.
I'll give a good example to this, on my team, I do work with a hefty amount of buyer clients. My wife primarily works with most of them. I tend to work with a little more of our investor clients and our listings. From a listing standpoint, I don't like to take offers from non-local lenders or agents too. True. And I will this is the perfect example. So I had a lake listing, a very beautiful lake listing, and the lender that the buyer used was I represent the seller, so it was my listing, but they had a company out of Louisiana that said they could do Texas. First appraisal, I don't know what appraisal group they used. I gave the appraiser all the information about the home, top to bottom, everything, comps, everything. Came in and appraised at $180,000 below value. So the buyer then went to a local lender. They ended up using a local lender who had better appraisers, and it appraised. Went from $180,000 below to, so if you're a buyer and 100, and just in that example, my seller was like, I'm putting this back on the market. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not worth this.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Right. And
they're not willing to take.
They're not willing to take. And so you're sitting there going, but what do I do? The appraiser said this. The seller's like, no, I'll put it back on the market, because again, prices are jumping so fast month over month. If you put it back on the market, you're going to make that money. And that's what sellers are looking at. So, we're seeing in our market where if you're not putting in, a appraisal waiver that's saying that I will pay, whatever your percent down is. Yeah. If you're putting 20% down, but you're putting $30,000 over list price, you're going to make up that $30,000 if it doesn't appraise. And that's what you run into, is things not making appraisal. I haven't seen things not really make appraisal. That's one instance. But I primarily have clients use local lenders, and we don't have issues. So Ian says, at Katie Day, did you choose Houston? Did you choose Houston, and why? Why did you choose Houston, Katie?
So I moved here for a job, opportunity in 2011. And I wanted to live in a bigger city. I had not lived in, a large city. And
Dallas isn't that far, right? It's like 3 hours.
Oh, God. I mean, so here's the one thing that I know we can both agree on. Is whether or not I like Austin, which I love Austin. Austin's one of my favorite cities. It's one of my favorite places to go to. But can we both just hate on Dallas? I mean, that'd be cool, right?
I mean, I'm not a Cowboys fan per se, so I'll root for the Rangers. But as far as like being a fan of the city,
Not bad. Anyways, so I wanted to live in a major city. I didn't know a ton about the city. I knew a few people that lived here, but I had a job opportunity and figured it would be a good Christina's in the house. Thought it would be a good opportunity. So here I
am. Christina Smallhorn out of Louisiana. See, we get people from all over the world, even Baton Rouge or Ascension, Paris. See, I nailed it that time. Okay, so let's talk more about your market in Houston and comparing. Actually, I want to hear one more. Like, we've talked about some good reasons. Maybe Houston might be a better fit for you than Austin. I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me your number one reason Houston over Austin. Now that Christina's on the channel, I want you to say it in front of Christina. That way she can harass you in the future about it. Sorry. Go ahead.
We're closer to Louisiana than Austin is.
That's not a great answer. Oh, man.
See, now I'm on Christina's good side. This is great. Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know about that.
Louisiana. We're closer to, New Orleans and Baton Rouge and, all the good crawfish.
Here's the thing is, like, I like to give Houston a harder time than it deserves, right? I mean, it's always fun. I'm from California originally. I lived in the bathtub of California in the Central Valley, and then I moved and lived in San Diego later. But Bakersfield was always our joke of California. Oh, at least I don't live in Bakersfield. Oh, when at least I got to drive through hell to get to LA, right? Which is Bakersfield. So that's why I like to give Houston. I feel like I just have to give Houston that kind of ribbing, because really, I mean, who's going to drive to Houston, right? You don't need to go to Houston, right?
If you're gonna pick a city in Texas to like shit on, am I allowed to cuss on here?
Who knows? YouTube will tell me no. Yeah.
So if you're gonna pick a city in Houston Texas to be mean to, I like Dallas totally ranks above Houston in cities to make fun of. San Antonio also. Like, has Tim Macy been on here yet?
He has been on here. Yeah.
I appreciate you. I think that it's just like, you want to make fun of me or you want to be friends, so you make fun of me. But like, I'm just saying, like, as far as Texas cities go, you know, I'll give you your props, but I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why you want to live here. Maybe that's what, like, you're like, oh, I want to live there, but Katie's already the best realtor in Houston. So like, I can't move.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to step on your toes, right?
Yeah,
you know, and
there's
you
just
know,
not
I,
the real estate to go
and
around.
then if I move to Houston, I don't want to be under your shadow. So, H-Town got more flavor than Austin. I will give you that. I think, you know, the one thing that I always hear from people is how great the food in Austin is, how great the food in Austin is, how great the food in Austin is. Right? Like there's some great, so here's the thing. Here's how Austin sells its food. It sells the ambiance and the experience, which you can't beat.
Bougie. Like, you know,
I wouldn't say bougie.
I know you got those tree tacos, and then you have like all like,
yeah.
which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like them, but like you have all these restaurants where it's like you get your food and like, you know, it's like this on your plate. It's like the plate's this big, but it's, I mean, it's $500, but you know, when you're paying you know, $500K for a starter home in Austin, you can afford your $500.
$500K for a starter home is pretty right. But I mean, look, here's the thing though. Like, yeah, you're right. It is a little more expensive to go out and eat in Austin, but you do get a lot of like great, like, oh, this place is so awesome. I met a client today out of California. They flew in. I met him at my favorite place, Cosmic Coffee. And they're like, I didn't understand that Austin was like this. You know, it's just an outdoor coffee joint. There's taco trucks. There's a barbecue truck. There's chickens running around. Like it's a great place. And so they were just like, whoa, this blows my mind how great Austin is. And he said, Houston's terrible. Why would I go to Houston? I didn't want to correct him. You know, I didn't want to correct him.
Customer's always right. You know?
Yeah. Brandon says, don't hate on us here in San Antonio. We are still humble and affordable here. Look, I love San Antonio. You know, there are brothers or sisters to the south. It is fun to go down there. I feel like you get stuck in the tourist trap though if you go down to the Riverwalk. I do have to admit, and Tim was on the channel. There are a lot of great taco joints in Austin. The barbecue is definitely better in Austin, but San Antonio, if you want legit Mexican food, I'd say San Antonio or Houston, definitely better legit Mexican food. But I bought a beach rental condo in South Padre. That is better than both of y'all. Boom.
I
have friends trying to convince me to choose Houston over Austin. My heart tells me Austin though. Katie, here's your opportunity.
Don't listen with your heart. Listen with your brain. Move to Houston. No, I'm kidding. No, I think they have different vibes. Like I love Austin. I love going to Austin. I love going to 6th Street. I love going to Rainy. I love just everything about downtown Austin, about the barbecue as I'm driving out there and some of the, you know, outlying areas of Austin. But like just from what it's just, I think H was like H-Town.
H Town. No. Town. Like getting the H out of there, going to Austin.
Anyways, no. So I mean, I love Austin, but like just as far as cost of living, as far as job opportunities, as far as traffic, like I would rather live in Houston and go to Austin on the weekends. You know, when I don't care if it's going to take me 20 minutes to go a mile down the road. You know, I think the you know, yeah.
And that's the way I feel in Austin. If I want to go down to the beach or go fishing or whatever, I can go to Houston on the weekend and be at the Capitol where all the cool kids hang out. As Ian, where did Ian go? Ian, as Ian once said, all the cool cats live in South Austin. So thank you, Ian, for that, because I live in South Austin. I love North Austin. We help a lot of clients in North Austin.
Did you know that you lived in South Austin when he said that?
Yeah, well, his comment was, and he might still be on here. Let's see if but he said all the artistic type, cool people left. And I think he was trying to make a dig, but it came out fantastic how he said it, moved to South Austin. And so, yeah. I mean, I've had, you know, Ian was on this channel. We did a full argument, what was better, North over South Austin. And everybody pretty much agreed with me that South Austin was better. But look, North Austin's fantastic. Here's the thing. In Austin, just like in Houston, there's so much opportunity, right? There's our in Austin. I don't know if you know your numbers on this. I look it up a lot, but our unemployment rate during the pandemic went up to like 10%. It was already the lowest. It was already below the national average, right? The national average at that point was like 3.8%. We were like 3.2 or 3.3. So we were below the national average. And then the FIFA hit. And then our went to 10% unemployment rate, and now it's back down to under 5, which is crazy that we've dropped that. And I want to say it's in the 4s. What about beauty? Okay, I'm going to get to your question. I like that. I like that question. So what are you still seeing massive growth in Houston even during this thing?
As far as employment goes, or as far as
are you still seeing growth as far as like both the housing market, jobs, like we're in the middle of a thing, right? Are you, because I know in Austin, like I just said, the unemployment went. Are you still, look, I've been drinking, give me a break.
No, I'm just laughing at you trying to
not say the coronavirus. Yeah, man. I had a video on here that we did a live stream, and I was like, why isn't this monetized? And it's like, oh, you said the C word. I'm like,
yeah,
what was C word? Anyway,
not the C word you think.
yeah. So, but here's the thing: in Austin, we're seeing like our unemployment numbers are dropping precipitously. Job growth is crazy. People are moving here like crazy. Is that the same thing you're seeing in Houston, where just like unemployment rate just dropped, like getting down back to numbers?
So I don't think that it's quite back to those numbers. I would say let's call it 2019 numbers, or early 2020 numbers. All y'all, Houston, Louisiana does have better food than, like, Louisiana probably has the best food in the country. I can't. But yeah, so I think that our unemployment numbers are still a little bit higher. I know when I just tried Googling to see the exact number now, but it gives me like
it gives you a bunch of different numbers.
But I mean, I think that also a lot of who has been impacted has been more of the hospitality jobs and things like that. So I mean, we're still seeing a lot of clients. Austin, we're still seeing a lot of clients moving to Houston that are moving here for jobs or moving here because of better job opportunities. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's definitely been a little bit of a crazy year for Texas and for real estate in general, because a lot of our clients, with such low interest rates, have seen more purchasing power, have decided that it's time to get out of the apartment that they were okay in, to move into a house, to have more space, because they're working from home or schooling from home or whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, I would say, we've seen a lot more buyers this year moving from states west of us, like California, for lower cost of living and, just more space. All of our clients from California lived in like 900 square foot condos, sell it, and have a ridiculous amount of equity to put into a 4,000 square foot house. I mean, it's
crazy. Yeah. And that, I mean, why would you not? If you could do it, I mean, why would you not? So Ross, I want to answer your question. I love Buda. There's a new neighborhood out there on the west side called Carpenter Hill. Perry Homes is the builder out there. Definitely, I saw your price point question earlier. Definitely in that price point. Schools are fantastic. Well, I don't know if I can even say that. Schools are great over there. East Austin, there's some good spots in East Austin. I think that if you look in that Carpenter Hill area I was talking about, really easy on to the 45 extension onto Mopac. So you'll get to downtown from there in like 20 minutes, which is nuts. It's hard to do that in East Austin. So answer that question. Christina says, howdy, Ian. Ian says, haha, no, North versus South rematch. Oh, Ian should battle you because you're quite a fierce competitor, more fierce than Ian. Ian just rolled over and said, yep, South Austin all the way. So Ian's not on here to defend himself, so I win.
I know. He told me how South was better than North. He apologized for even coming on.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is why you don't fight Katie. She'll get you. For someone who is sick and tired of New York lifestyle, are downtowns in Austin and Houston that bad? Whoa. Yeah, I think downtown Austin has changed drastically in the last 9 months, 10 months. And I don't think that's because of the Schmersha virus. There's been, the city council has taken off some rules and made some new rules and things and so unfortunately, and people get mad at me when I talk about this, but our homeless population in downtown Austin has drastically increased. The last stat I saw was 11%, but if you look at the numbers a little more into it, it is a little bit higher than 11%, considerably higher, but I'm going to go off of their 11%. But downtown Austin, like if you're looking at 78704, Zilker area, if you take that part out of it, yeah, downtown Austin's still nice. I think a lot of people are moving more to the suburbs now because of their schmersha, and they can work from home instead of working downtown. But the thing about Austin, and we've talked about this, and I think Katie brought it up a little bit about Houston, is that there's not very good connectability. There's not very good transit systems in Austin. Maybe she might have something different to say about Houston. But if you're leaving New York and you're coming to California, expect to buy a car. If you're leaving New York and you're coming to Texas, anywhere in Texas, expect to buy a car.
Also in California.
And in California, unless you're in the Bay Area.
Yeah, the Bay Area. So I would say, like, my caveat to that for Austin and Houston and Dallas and all of our downtowns here is, like, we're not a New York, we're not a DC, we're not an LA, we're not a San Francisco. So our population density, while it is dense in downtown Austin and Houston compared to, the burbs, it's not as dense, right? So, like, I think that, and I don't know what that bad is referring to, whether that's homelessness or crime or, things to do or what, I don't know. But, so I think that, like, for a lot of the migration to the suburbs, I think that's in the New York cities to Jersey and to Connecticut and to, those burbs, from DC out to Maryland and Virginia and things like that, from San Francisco proper out to, Berkeley or Oakland or wherever it may be, right? Like out, right? So, Houston and Austin both, like, you do have, like, downtown proper, right? Where, there is housing and things like that, where it would be a condo, but, like, we have, neighborhoods that are walkable, that have public transportation, that have, we have a light rail here. So, like, light rail access, stuff like that you can live in, that, you're not all on top of each other. So, I mean, I think that's something to kind of keep in mind of, like, yeah, you're in this city, but it's not like New York City. So.
Yeah. And I think if you want the walkability in Austin, if you're going to be in 78704, so Zilker Park area, that box right here, I'll actually bring it up. Hold on. Boom. If you're looking at Austin and you're this block right here, this area, which is 78704, this area has got pretty decent connectability. If you're in this, too far. If you're in this quadrant in North Austin, the connectability is not bad at all. It's once you start getting outside of those and then into the suburbs is where you start running into more problems with connectability. So if you're moving to Austin, there's a fantastic neighborhood right in here, brand new build. Actually, it's right here. That is, you're going to be in the 550 to $1.3 million, depending on what you're looking at. But that's the Grove. And is it this one? No, not that one. It is. It's right here. No, that's not it. But anyway, the Grove, I'll pull, it's messing with me. But the Grove is right off of 45th, right in the middle of Allendale. I highly recommend if you're wanting, like, a newer mixed use area, they're going to have a lot of different fun stuff in there. That's definitely where I would go. And then you're not so close to downtown. All right. So we got some more questions on here. Did you have anything else to say before I bump down the questions? Okay, good. I knew because Houston's losing. Okay.
It's great when you have full control over the entire stream, how like
Yes.
you always win. It's weird. It's weird. I'm gonna
Well,
demand a recount and we're gonna fight this. I'm not going down without a fight.
I don't think there's a Supreme Court in YouTube that you can go to,
Oh.
so we'll see. I moved from Houston. I moved from Houston in May. Best decision ever. From Houston to where? Back to Austin? That makes sense. Back to Austin. Tex Jackson says,
I think actually that was a typo, and I moved to Houston back in May. Best decision ever.
no, definitely from. Okay. Tex says North Austin is the real Austin.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I
Person
mean,
named Tex in Texas saying that's a.
I mean, I'm not going to fight anybody named Tex. All right. That's for sure.
What I'm saying. Like, oh, all right. Thank you, Tex. Thank you.
Somebody named Tex is a guy that you buy beers, right? And you become friends with, right? Yeah. You sit outside a fire and you talk about the good old days, right? That's the guy you talk to.
Tex is actually from like Minnesota, and it's like, that's not what you do.
Yeah. He says, what are some of the top master plan communities in Austin area and Houston? I'm looking up in Liberty Hill, Leander, possibly working in Cedar Park, North Austin. So that's a good question. I'll let you start. Go for it. Let's see what you got.
Well, I guess if Tex is going to be working in Cedar Hill, North Austin, you'd want to be northwest Houston so you can get on 290 and head out to Austin.
That's true.
But master plan communities, the Woodlands is great. It's a little bit more established. As I said earlier, Shadow Creek Ranch is great down in Pearland. Again, a little bit more established. Some of the newer communities, you've got like Bridgeland, you've got Cane Island that I mentioned earlier, Riverstone area down in Sugarland. I'm trying to like take the loop around. Those are just a few that come right to the top of my mind. We've had clients looking in those neighborhoods. So, those always are good. But, up in down south in like League City, you've got Tuscan Lakes, which is another master plan community. We've got Sienna, which is in Southwest Houston. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of master plan communities here. I think that's something that Texas is kind of known for, at least from my knowledge.
So, yeah, I mean, those are all great places.
But let me dig into Liberty Hill and Leander and what we can get here.
Okay, so if you're looking Liberty Hill area, Leander, right off the lake, off a Hero here. Is it this Hero? Yeah. There's a golf course. So I would buy off the golf course, which is Crystal Falls. That area is fantastic. So it's up on the west side of Leander. You at any point we could have brought your screen on here too. So,
I'm really glad that like an hour into this you pointed that out. Thank you. I appreciate.
To be fair, it was an hour and 7 minutes. Brushy Creek, this area right here, and Avery Ranch. Avery Ranch is a huge master plan community. Both of these spots are definitely good spots to look in. Liberty Hill, there's a lot going on Liberty Hill. I don't think you can hit a bad community. Santa Rita Ranch is up in this area as well. Santa Rita Ranch is growing. The tax rate, those areas, I really think you have to be careful of the tax rate, especially if you do, what we've talked about. But I'd say if you go off of this west area out by the golf course for Crystal Falls, definitely where you want to be. Definitely a great area. Brandon, let's bring our screens back here. Okay. Question for Houston. Best area for young professionals that is not in the suburbs. Great question, Brandon.
Good job, Brandon. So, again, I think this also depends on price point, but neighborhoods will kind of start for lower price point / younger people. So Midtown is full of bars and restaurants and walkability. And I lived there for the first, 2 years year and a half that I lived in Houston. It's amazing. When I stopped going out on Thursday nights, I left Midtown. I lived off of Washington Avenue. So Washington runs parallel to I-10. That's a great area. East Downtown is kind of a revitalizing neighborhood. We lived there for a while as well. And it's actually where the Dynamo Stadium is, as well as Jeremy's favorite team, the Houston Astros. They play at Minute Maid down in East Downtown. He just takes me off the screen completely. I'm like talking, and it's just like, nope, you're done. Gone.
I have control.
Yeah, no, that's why I think it's funny that you think you win all of these. But anyways, so East Downtown's also great. Montrose is super eclectic. And the Museum District, all of those are within 610 and are all great neighborhoods. Some kind of more up and coming neighborhoods is Independence Heights. Oh, the Heights is also great. Independence Heights. I feel like I should have shared my screen.
Go ahead.
Can I do that from my end?
Yeah, just go.
I got it.
Yeah.
Get a map pulled up. Maps google.com. Let's see. Let me zoom out.
So while Katie has a timeout to finally bring up her screen, I do want to again thank all of you for jumping on. I know it's 6 o'clock on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. I really appreciate you all jumping on. There's a lot of you still watching. So if you have more questions, definitely reach out. Definitely put more questions in chat. I'm willing to keep rolling. If you're going to keep asking questions, I'm going to keep rolling. If you do have other questions, I'll put Katie's information about Houston in the replay of this so you can reach out to her directly. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know. Just kidding, Katie. All right, here you go.
For a realtor that's more fun than Jeremy, then you reach out to Katie Day. And okay, anyways, so this is
hold on one second. Did you realize that this is the night day challenge?
Oh my God, missed opportunity. We should start
we should start over. Let's just start over night versus day and go again.
Day and night.
Day and night. There you go.
Whose name would go first in this partnership that we're forming right now?
I feel like you have to go day. I mean, right?
Number one. All right, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
right, cool.
yeah,
but it's been good. It's been good.
You start with day and you end with the best night. So there you go.
The darkest night. Shady night.
All right.
Okay, so
that's not shady. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is Houston. I'm zoomed out pretty far here to kind of show you the highway. So the 610 loop right here. Can you see my mouse too?
Yeah.
The 610 loop here is what I've been referring to when I say inside the loop. This is Beltway 8 out here. And then we've got 99, which goes even further out, which will eventually go all the way around all of Houston.
I feel like we're looking at Europe. This is so big.
Crazy, right? Like, I think, have you seen those where it's like comparing like Texas to countries, and it's like you can fit these 4 countries into Texas. So yeah. It's crazy how big it is. But those are I think
Houston down to Galveston's the size of Italy. So I don't know. I am a geography major, but I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. So anyway, so these were, the Woodlands is something I was referring to as far as burbs, Cypress, Katy and Cinco Ranch, and then Sugarland, Missouri City, and Sienna. These are kind of the areas that I was referring to. Pearland, that's where Shadow Creek Ranch is, and then League City. So these are all kind of the burbs that people live in. They also live in these burbs too, but that's just some of the ones, the new construction and master plan communities. So if you are a young professional and you are looking to move to Houston, the Heights is great. Okay, so the Heights is going to be kind of this area here, Greater Heights area. Washington is going to be around here. There's a huge park down here that you can run. This is actually all trails. If we zoom in, this is all trails that you can run, and it goes all the way down to the park. Where pins are at, it's great. We've got Montrose Midtown here, downtown.
Hold on, that Midtown area, how much if I want to buy like a 3-2, 2,000 square feet? What am I looking at?
So you could get something depending on the age, because there's a lot of different pockets. You could get something probably anywhere between under 300, but very rare, up to 500 or more.
Interesting. Okay. Is that a Green Bay Packers thing? I can't be Green Bay. Okay.
Oh, this?
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was Green Bay Packers. Like, you're off the channel now.
No.
Colin Baker.
Who's your team? Who's your NFL team?
All right. So next question on the stream. Not the Houston Texans, that's for sure.
Neither, if I'm going to be honest, neither for me either. Anyway, so then you have East Downtown, which we lived in for a while. It's awesome over here. And then we're seeing a lot going on up here, which is considered Denver Harbor, 5th Ward area. So, I mean, there's a lot of neighborhoods that are being, kind of revitalized and, updated and, things like that, that there's affordable living. We have lots of first time home buyers buying in all of those areas.
So here's a good question. And then I'm going to answer this question right here. Mr. Cody Monkey, I think it is. I'll answer your question in a second. And also Brandon said, thank you, Katie. He said, Brandon. The next question, which he didn't put on there, is Austin's better, but it's fine. We want to answer, put that one on.
I don't see that comment.
Come on, Brandon, write the comment. Help me out.
Brandon, right. I paid you for this, man.
Okay, so Luis says, really tempting to move from SoCal to Texas. So I'm going to give 3 reasons, Austin. You give 3 reasons, Houston, and then we'll both give all the reasons not to move to Dallas or San Antonio. Ready? Number 1, Austin, fantastic jobs, right? Great places, great people. I think you can say that about all of Texas, though.
You're just naming, I was going to say that we have great jobs and diversity. We are the most diverse city in all of Texas.
I'm going to have to go.
There are more languages spoke here than any other city in Texas.
Well, okay. So to be fair, you are 3 times the size of Austin, maybe more. So I see that, but Austin's super diverse and amazing.
Being weird and liberal isn't diverse.
Well, I mean, I'm weird. What's wrong with being weird? I live in Austin and I'm wearing a Dodgers champion shirt. That's pretty weird.
No, but the keep Austin weird, that's not being diverse. That's just being hippie-ish.
Hey, look, do you see a weird mustache or a hat on this head?
No. You shaved before the live stream.
I had to. I was getting pretty beardy. I was getting pretty beardy.
I've seen him on Facebook. It was scary.
I think, here's the deal. If you're moving from California, I've done a video on this, and Katie, obviously moved from the East Coast, which is weird, but just kidding. She moved from Florida. So I would say if you're moving from California or, SoCal, it's a culture shock here in Texas. I don't think it doesn't matter whether you go to Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, it's going to be a culture shock. And it's going to be that shock. And I hear this every single time I hear somebody that I help move from SoCal, even NorCal. I can't believe how awesome the people are here. Every single time, the first, hey, how do you like? Because I'll call clients hey, what do you think about Austin? You've been here for a couple months. The people are so amazing. I'll go to HEB and people are like, oh, how's it going? We're in the middle of a pandemic and people are just being nice. So that's one thing. Yes, cost of living. I think, you get what you pay for. If you move to Austin and you buy a $700,000 house and you're paying $700,000 house price taxes, it's going to be high. Houston, I think definitely, prices might be different. I mean, we looked at the cost of living earlier. We're 119%. You're about 96% of the national average. I think that's changed. I think it's probably different now, but what do you think? I mean, you moved from the East Coast. What do you think? What was your first impression moving from the East Coast to Dallas, or not? Sorry, to Houston. But what was your
to Dallas? You take that back.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
I'm done. I'm shutting this down.
Okay, what was your first impression for you when you moved to Houston?
So people are very nice. I would completely agree with that. But I think the coolest thing about Houston is piggybacking on the food. There is always, and this is probably true in a lot of parts of Austin, but there is always a happy hour or a special going on in Houston. When I first moved here, it was every single day you could go out and get steak night on Monday, and then taco Tuesday, and then chicken sandwich Wednesday, and then, or wing Wednesday actually would probably be better, wing Wednesday, and then, tequila third, and it's just every single day there's a special.
And you do oyster Fridays, right?
I'm actually going for oysters tomorrow, so I'll let you know how it's going. But
what is that? Wednesday, oyster Wednesdays. There you go.
But anyways, so yeah, I mean, I think not only is it cheap, excuse me, to live here and eat here and all the things, you can really do it on the cheap if you're looking for it, So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was one of the coolest things. And the areas that I lived in have all been very walkable. Yeah. So I think that it was just very cool to live in a major city, but have a small town feel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The culmination of all of that.
I think Austin, I have, I've been to Houston several times, and I feel, they're definitely different cities, but the availability to kind of go out, enjoy people, enjoy going out to happy hour, and everybody's like just sitting around having a beer, having a good time, and there's like no pressure, right? You don't I just say the pace of life is so much slower, and you still have that hectic life of work, but it's so much slower once you get done with work. People are chill. I don't know. That's how I feel. I'm gonna answer this question real quick from Cody Monkeys just so I can get it out. Lago Vista is a really great spot. The problem with Lago Vista is there's not a lot around it. So if you're gonna try to like have a restaurant or go do things, there's nothing around it. You kind of have to like drive. And I think that's the one negative down aspect of Lago Vista is there's nothing around it. There's no HEB, there's no shopping, there's nothing. So it is a little bit further of a drive. There's zero walkability. Beautiful area. You're right next to the lake. That would be the only downside to that. Do you know where Elon Musk is going to build the Austin Hyperloop? No idea. Tex, we'll talk about Prop A in my next video in good detail. I want to give the video a fair shake and not be too biased in my opinion on it. I don't think Elon's going to do any huge projects yet. I know there's talk about it, but I don't see it yet. So we'll see. But hey, Elon, if you want to call me to buy a house, give me a call. Do you know our same question? And accordingly, yes, avoid I-35 at all costs. And don't call it the 35 or you get called Californian. You're a Tampa Bay Rays fan, Jeremy.
Oh.
Wow.
Do you know him? I feel like that's like shots fired.
I mean, we all know how that worked out for the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, Cody, you're welcome. By the way, Cody, again, I love the area. It's beautiful, just not a lot around it. All right, Katie, we are an hour and 20-something minutes in. 21 minutes, jeez. If you guys have questions, I'll wait one more minute. If you have a really good question or a really good point you want to make, Katie, you got time?
I have time.
All right. I mean, it's not like it's 8:30 almost in Houston. I want to hear one more good question, and then we'll get out of here.
No, it's just like we need like the Jeopardy.
Let's wait, dude. So while we wait, Katie, your closing pitch for Houston. Let's hear your closing pitch for Houston.
It's not Austin.
Bullshit. Sorry. Ooh, that really got me a throat. Jeremy told me Dallas is better than Houston.
Tex, you are full of it, man.
I like this guy. Tex, give me a call, man. We can be friends.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
Tex, first of all, Tex, we need you to update your photo. 1, 2.
See, Tex, I was like being nice to you. She is attacking you. That's what happens in Houston.
2.
Attackers.
Typo.
Cheaters, number 1.
Cheaters,
number 1. Cheating people out of World Series. Number 2, they're just mean. Look at us in Austin. We're so nice.
Anyways, Dallas.
Your sales pitch.
Dallas is definitely not better than Houston. No, I think that the cost of living, the great food, the fact that coming from the East Coast, obviously I did come from Florida, but I lived in DC and Maryland for a while, but like the weather, and I get that it is humid, but the weather is better. I will take a hot summer. It's hot everywhere in the summer to not have a cold winter. And all of the shit you talk, but all of the sports teams and things to do. I mean, there's more culture, sports, art, music, entertainment, live performance here than any other city in Texas, for sure, hands down.
Well, for sure. I mean, I think the best thing that Houston has going for it is that it is in Texas.
And that Katie Day is what you're finishing.
Yeah, Katie
Day. Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand, Jeremy. I can see where you're coming from. If I moved to Austin, like then, hands down, Austin would win. I get it.
See, there you go.
Hands on. If I moved there, hands down, he's probably going to edit this out to be like, Austin win.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly. I have the editing power now.
Yeah.
So, look, here's the deal. Oh man. Now this is a question right here.
So I've never had California Mex. I'm like I've been to California, but
You've never had Luis Flores. Where are you at? And I want to know because there's different California. Like if you're in San Diego or LA, you got that Baja style. What part are you in? I lived in Central California for a long time, and it was good, but definitely San Diego, LA was much better than living in the Central Valley. So I will answer this question since I am the authority on this. California Mex is more Baja style. Tex-Mex is more. I had a friend tell me this, and I'm saying what a friend said that is from Texas originally, born and raised. They told me this is what because I was complaining about Tex-Mex food. They told me Tex-Mex food is a bunch of different things, and they said basically back in the day when everything was rationing, it was government cheese and government beef. I don't know how true that is. I don't know my Texas history that well. I apologize. But if you go anywhere in Austin, it's queso, spiced up. It's great. It's fantastic. Everything's fajitas.
Where are fajitas from? Done. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing. See, all right, Luis, there I'm telling you, you will move from San Diego because I moved from San Diego here, and you'll be like, "What is this? This is not Mexican food."
It's not. We're not trying to be.
It's true. It's true.
Like where else can you get like brisket tacos and also tamales and also queso and it's all covered in queso.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not trying to. We have a lot of good authentic like Mexican food here.
I think you get more interior Mexican food. I'm not knocking the Mexican food in Texas. I'm knocking more of the Tex-Mex food because there's some really good Mexican food places here.
Yeah.
But then you go to like Chewy's, like the commercialized.
Okay, no, that's not
Chewy's. Or you go, it's not the same, But the barbecue.
Chewy's is like someone going to Chili's and be like, "Oh, I love Mexican food." No, that's not.
That's true.
Sorry, Chewy's, but no, that's not. We don't go there.
So, one thing that's pretty hot, and I feel like we could just go forever now. So let's just keep going. But one thing that's pretty hot in Austin is the barbecue. How's the barbecue in Houston?
We've got a pretty good barbecue scene. I'm not even gonna lie. I do enjoy Austin barbecue, but we have got some freaking fantastic chefs that are pit masters and like some like classically trained chefs that are delving into barbecue that so just kind of I mean, I could name off tons of restaurants. I actually have a video on my YouTube channel that talks about food, and I name off a ton of barbecue restaurants. But I think that Houston's really stepping up in the barbecue game. Like I know that Austin is that's one of the things that Austin's kind of known for. But
keep going.
I'm kind of speechless thinking about it. I actually had well, why are you pulling up?
I'm going to show you the best the best Mexican food, or not best Mexican, best barbecue.
You don't even know what it is. You just said the wrong. That's barbecue.
Well, because this is Valentina's Tex-Mex. It's not Tex-Mex food. This is the best barbecue in town. I tell people this all the time. Look at Katie. Tell me, look at that. Would you eat that?
Obviously.
This is the best barbecue in all of Austin. They do not pay me. I wish one day they would let me be their spokesman, but they won't.
Have you done a video there?
I have. I love this place. I think by far, hands down, the best barbecue. And then they throw that Tex-Mex flair on it. That's actually really good. So, So there you go. That's the best. That's the best. No, Katie, I'm not sharing your screen. Get your screen out of here. All right. Katie's giving me a screen here.
So this is Feejus Barbecue. I actually had this today for lunch. What's cool is they do like the pit and everything, but then they do these awesome sides. So they have like Moroccan spiced carrots and like loaded baked potato salad and all that. So it's like elevated, but we've got all kinds of, I could pull up way more, but like we've got all kinds of barbecue. So I mean, it's great to be able to have fantastic barbecue at home, right? Like, and too soon for Jeopardy, and all that. But I mean, I think I am totally down. I am actually going to be in no. I'm going to be in Fredericksburg over Christmas, and if you're home,
Okay, we'll have to
like
make this
maybe
work.
we'll make a
Yeah.
detour, and I'll stop, and we can go get barbecue, and I'll
Yeah,
I'll see.
no. I will if we can put our schedules together and you can come and I will take you to the best. I won't look, here's the deal. I'm not gonna sit there and stare at you like this. And to like see your you'll
be like this.
But I'm gonna be like this. Like eating a taco, looking at
Yeah.
you like, what is she saying? Everybody that I've ever told, now they could be just trying to be nice to me, right? But they're like, that's the best barbecue I've ever had. So
I have kind of heard that about your personality. That your wife actually sent me a message and was like, please don't be mean to Jeremy on the live stream tonight.
Oh man, she has to send that to everybody. I don't blame her.
It was like a permission slip. I had to sign it. It was weird. I was like, okay, I won't be derogatory toward his manliness, and
there are so many people that have asked me to be on my channel from Houston, legitimately. I've had 3, so that's not so many, but 3 different people that, hey, can I be on your live stream? And I said, no, Katie Day is coming on. And why did I put Katie Day? Because Katie Day can hold up and back up her stuff. Thank you, Katie Day. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right.
I just like making fun of you. So,
hey,
you're welcome anytime.
I can take it. It's good. What are the property tax rates different from each neighborhood? And are they fixed? So the property tax rate will be fixed. Now they can come down if the MUD tax is taken off. So I would say in general in Austin, there's, this is a good one. So they're broken up into different percentages. But if your overall tax rate's 2.14%, what you're taxed, they go off of the value of your home. So the value of your home can change, and that's how they reassess what your taxes are. Does that make sense, Katie? You want to help me out here? Did I mess that up?
Yeah, I mean, so they're going to be a little bit different. I would say maybe not necessarily for a neighborhood. I mean, obviously the MUDs could change the neighborhood, but on a bigger scale, at least for Houston, they're going to be different depending on what you're getting taxed for.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have like flood control districts, school districts, different city ordinances that have taxes similar to some of the things that Jeremy's been talking about. So like those will all be kind of like bullet points, right? And actually I could pull up.
I'm actually going to pull up. I have Prop A.
Just to show. Oh God, is this happening? Is this what we're getting into?
No. The Prop A is going to. Oh, did it take off? Come on.
So, for example, let me just pull up a home in. We're just both over here clicking away.
Clickety. Here we go. Boom.
Oh, this is cute. So this home.
Perfect. Okay, so I got this on. So
yeah, there you go.
So this is a breakdown. So if your tax rate's 2.14, this is kind of like showing you what the breakdown of your taxes are. And I pulled this because this is the Prop A, and this is what I'm doing a video on next. So you have all these different reasons you're getting taxed, right? So the Austin AISD, City of Austin, Travis County, the TCHD. This is for Austin Community College. What was the other one? Austin County Healthcare District. And now they're adding this on. But if you're in a different area that's in a MUD, you'll also see your MUD district tax on here as well. So that's what I'll take it.
The comments so you can see everything.
Oh, yeah, my apologies. Boom. Yeah. Apologies. Okay, there you go. So you can see how kind of like this is just Austin specific. So if your tax rate is 2.14, here's where the tax rate's coming from, right? You're getting $1 of your tax rates here. It's less than that, like 0.44, 0.374. And then now they're adding on this 0.0875, which seems so small, right? Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. But that ends up being $500 a year in additional taxes. And now these taxes are also going to be reassessed. So every year your taxes are reassessed. What your value of your home is reassessed. And that's the problem with Texas. And where people get in trouble is they'll buy a home in a 3 or 4% tax rate. And this is why I kind of pushed on you on those tax rates is people will buy in a 3 or 4% tax rate. One year they're assessed at 300,000. They're paying $9,000. Next year, 12,000. Yeah. So, and yes, there's ways to mitigate that, but it is, I love when trolls get on here. Please tell me with Texas, we are terrible Republicans. It's hot here. Nothing good here.
Talking to the Californians out there.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So I don't know if that explained it a little bit better. I should do another video on it because people ask me about tax. Do people ask you about taxes a lot?
Yeah, I like that chart is the best visual. And like now I'm thinking in my head, like, because we have similar things. I was pulling up like a property, you know, say in Sugarland, and you've got like the Fort Bend ISD, you've got a levy improvement district, which has to do with water, you know, a Fort Bend County tax, a City of Sugarland tax, and that's what like adds it all up. But like that visual representation, that's so nice. And AustinTexas.gov, just putting it out there for you. So that's cool.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, where I missed you. Oh, there you go. All right. So which city is notoriously HOA? Oof. I don't think it's a city thing. It's just a neighborhood thing. So wherever, if you're building in a new neighborhood, the HOAs might be a little bit higher. It's really, I think where you have really bad HOAs as far as cost is with condos.
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah, our condos in Austin, you know, you'll have condo. I have a freestanding condo. It's a rental property. It's $170 a month. It's high. But I have clients that are looking, but I mean, that is a very good investment. Besides being 170, because it pretty much maintains the whole property. But I'll see, you know, people in high rises downtown with $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 a month HOA. Those are intrusive. I don't think HOAs are that bad in Austin. You can speak about, but my HOA in Circle C did not allow us to have our pools open, which we have 4 pools because of the Schmersher virus. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, condos are always going to be higher than, not always, but most condos are going to be higher than like the neighborhoods. I think as far as like what you're actually getting for that money, you know, if you're in a master plan community or one of the newer communities, you're going to have way higher HOA fees than some of the older communities, because a lot of those, you know, don't have the same amenities. And then in those newer communities, you're also going to be a lot more restricted as far as like what you can do to your home. Normally like architectural committees and things like that to get approved if you want to make changes to your house, stuff like that. So it really does vary, I think, depending on the age of the community and how active the HOA is. So that's also something to consider when, you know, you're looking to move.
Katie, we've exhausted an hour and almost 40 minutes.
Have I set the record? What's the longest?
This is now the longest. You've beat you definitely beat Ian of Austin. Any but questions keep coming in. So this is fantastic. Any plans for Treviso Leander type master plan in South Austin? No, for sale by owners. That's funny. No, not in South Austin. There's not enough space in South Austin. There are some really great areas like Parton Ranch, which is South Austin. I believe they're not building there anymore. Yeah, Parton Ranch should be the only other like South Austin. Great builders in there. You got Highland Homes. Taylor Morrison, I think, is in there now, which we've both talked about our experience with Taylor Morrison, and then Village Builders, but they're phasing out, which is a good thing. I have a strong opinion about them. Why is
just asterisks on Taylor Morrison? I don't know about, and I think, let me just also caveat this with builders. You can have a builder that's like known to be a good builder or bad builder in a city or in an area, but what it really comes down to is the project manager and the construction manager on that specific community. Because I've had good builders build shitty homes, and I've had bad builders build good homes, you know, that like my clients inspect it and everything went well. So always make sure you're doing inspections throughout the entire process and you visit the home often. But anyways, continue.
Why is Houston more affordable than Austin? Because it's not as cool. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Katie. I run the channel. What can I say?
At least I rep my city and I don't just wear a freaking LA shirt. I mean, that's like, at least I have some pride. You're not wearing a burnt orange shirt.
Well,
Okay.
Anyway,
So as far as affordability, I think that I don't really know what, like, I think Austin's blown up a lot in the last
I think it has,
at least 10 years.
yeah,
Maybe 15.
I could be wrong, but I think a lot of it has to do with that Houston has the ability to continue to spread out.
Well, that's what I was kind of going to say, because I don't know Austin that well outside of just going for ACL and going for different events and things like that. But like
All the fun stuff.
Austin's blown up, and like I think it just, in my opinion, as an outsider of Austin, it's like, you know, you have your downtown, but like there's really nothing else around as far as like land, right? Like it's all more commercial and like higher residential, and like you can drive outside of downtown and there are still vacant acres of land right outside downtown. It's unreal. You know, so I mean,
Yeah.
I think that like you have that for like in town development, and then we just keep pushing further and further out. Like that 99 highway around Houston, I'm gonna Google it real quick, but like
I'll let you do that. I'm going to answer this next question. So a neighborhood with low tax rate could become a neighborhood with a high tax rate anytime. It's not the tax, well, it's not the tax rate. It's that if the home appreciates in value, they are reassessing the value at that same tax rate. So if your home is 400,000 at 2.14% as an example, and then next year they say it's worth $500,000, now your taxes go up because they're evaluating the property higher. That's where people get into trouble. The tax rate's really not going up. Now they just added, if they pass a bond like Prop A, it actually increases it. It's 4% in addition, which is 25 or 26% of the what gets paid to the city of Austin. So it's, yes, that will be a 4% addition to your overall price value. So
okay.
Did you bring a screen on?
So get this. No, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm just gonna give some facts. So 99, the biggest highway around Houston that I was talking about, is going to completely go all the way around Houston. When it's finished, it will be the longest beltway in the U.S. and it's a proposed 170-mile loop, which, if you were to drive from Houston to Austin, it's 162 miles away. And our highway is going to be 170 miles around Houston. Like,
that's nuts.
You could either start on this road and drive all the way around the entire city, right?
Yeah. Or you could go to Austin and get really good barbecue.
Or you could go to Austin and have to deal with Jeremy Knight staring at you as you're eating really good barbecue. Like, I'm down to eat the barbecue, but I'm just concerned that you're going to be like this. What do you think? What do you think? While I'm doing it. So, like, I mean, we'll come down and visit y'all and, like, you know, crack open a beer or two and you know, eat some cute barbecue. But like, I'm just like, you know, I'm a little concerned with that. So we'll see.
Do you, you know, we drink a lot of Topo Chico here. So yeah. Is that a Texas thing? Because nobody else has ever, if I tell people about Topo Chico, they're like, what is that? Is it just more of a Texas thing?
It's totally a Texas thing. Like, I hadn't really had it prior to coming here. And what's crazy is, even when we were in Mexico City, when we were like, oh, Topo Chico, they're like, no, Agua Mineral, here you go. Like, completely different brand.
Yeah.
But who is it? Oh, I don't know if you know Robert Mack. He's a realtor out in California, but he drinks Topo Chico. So whenever he has it, I'm like, yeah, Topo Chico. But yeah, it's not really a thing. What about ranch water? Do you drink ranch water? Speaking of Topo Chico.
Well, if you're defining ranch water as tequila with then yes, I drink lots of ranch water.
Yeah, the bougie name for tequila with.
Yeah. Tequila with topo. If that's what it's called, then yes, I've had lots of ranch waters. In fact, I'm running low on ranch water. Considering walkability, single family in 04, what is the price range? I just had a client buy a home. I won't tell you what they closed for, but the list price was $2.4 million. Elijah Wood's house was on the market for 1.8. I tried to show that, but the agents were being a little cranky. So my clients decided not to see it. But I would say if you want to be in 04, a 4-bedroom, 4-bath is probably going to run you 1.3. Easily 1.3. If you find something a little more outdated, then it'll be lower, but if you want to be in 04, now you can, there's pockets that are being built where you can be in the 600s. I just don't know if you're going to get a 4.4. Does that answer that question? Did I get that one? But 78704 is phenomenal. Like I'm ready to move closer to Austin and be in 04. After I've just said all these things about about being downtown, I'd still move in 04. It's beautiful. So there you go. Katie, you got anything else?
No, but I'm totally down to
you're trying to beat the record. That's what it is.
Well, no, I thought we already beat it. Ian's already, first of all, Ian's already signed off. He couldn't even hang today. And yeah, Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
the champ is here.
The champ is my friend. So hey Mike, what's up, man? What's up, bro? There is a new development that's a condo near oh wait, why aren't new condo developments near the Domain? Why they are in East Austin? Okay, near the Domain, yes. So there is, give me 1 second, I will pull it up. What screen am I on? This one. Grove, Austin. This is near the Domain, and it's going to be a mixed use. Boom. All right, do we get it on? Here we go. What? All right, give me 1 second. Stand by. Technical difficulties. I'm bringing it on. So the Grove Austin is exactly what you're talking about. It's North Austin. There we go. So this is North Austin.
So seems like a hip place.
Yeah. So this is North Austin, kind of very close to the Domain. They're going to be mixed use, kind of like the Domain. They are building a Domain style complex in Pflugerville, so that will be coming soon as well. So if you're going to go east to Pflugerville, that would be where to go. But yeah, I would say the Grove is super slick. You got to see some of these. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up a residence. Townhome, single family. These homes are super slick. But yeah, 1.29 million. My clients buying in there recently, so yeah. I love that area. Definitely great. Mike Tyson, I hope that answered your question. Katie is still stalling. She wants to set the overall record. She knows that I won't get anybody else past 2 hours, so she's just trying to hold out. All right, Katie. It's been a long time. I appreciate you. You are definitely one of my favorite Houston realtors. I appreciate you taking the hour and 47 minutes to be on my channel and take the abuse from me in Austin. If you are looking to buy or sell a home in the Houston area and you need a strong agent who will kick ass, Katie is your agent. She's fantastic. Look, yeah, those guns. I appreciate you again. Everyone who's subscribed, who's part of my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. It's these videos are a lot of work to put out. The content's a lot of work to put out. And, running a real estate business on top of that makes it a challenge. So I really do appreciate everyone who has taken the time to even just write a comment. Even today, I really appreciate you. Katie, give us a plug for your channel. Let me give you your screen. Give us a plug for your channel where people could find you.
So you've got my handle down here, TX, moving to Texas, which is where you can find me on pretty much all of the social medias. And if you search it in the YouTube, it will it should come up. I should hope it comes up. Might need to check into that. But for Sell by Owners, awesome live chat. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, move me to Texas, move me to TX, and Jeremy will drop links in the thing.
Yep. I'll get you on the playback. Mike Tyson, hey, let's go hit the bags. I want to see you later. Katie.
Please.
Mike's sitting there like, yes. All right. I appreciate y'all.
One real question. Do you think that you could take a punch? Because I don't think this is the Mike Tyson. Do you think that you could take a punch from Mike Tyson and not follow?
Okay, that's the live stream, folks. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for subscribing. And no, I cannot take a punch from Mike Tyson.
All right.
Bye.